Good morning, Houston. KHOU11 meteorologist Kim Castro giving you a morning update as we are anticipating strong to severe storms, and the likelihood of these having some damaging impacts is considerably high for today. So we're under a threat level 3 on the 1 to 5 scale to see severe weather today. The time frame that you really need to be mindful of, the noon hour through 6 o'clock. This is a busy time frame. We're usually on the go, quickly trying to pick up our kids, trying to get home from work, making it to whatever appointment we have. Well, travel is going to be something I discourage you to do during that time frame because the threats that we have today, number one, the potential to see some very large hail, 2 to 4 inches in diameter. We have the threats of some of these storms having some very gusty wind, 70 to 80 miles an hour, and we cannot rule out the possibility of a tornado. So again, let me walk you through the severe threats. The two predominant threats are going to be the damaging wind and the large hail. Why is large hail such a big concern? This is not typical that we see this type of threat here in downtown Houston. So Harris County, everybody is included in this severe level 3 threat. This type of hail, 2 to 4 inches, to put it into context, this could be anywhere between golf ball size to softball sized hail. And that's the type of hail, a big solid, fast velocity dropping item like that can have really big impacts, not only on your safety, but of course, damage property very quickly. So where did you park your car today? Were you planning on just leaving it there until you're off work? If you typically park in an area that's uncovered, you're going to want to move your car because, again, that threat rolls in right around, I'd say, downtown Houston, 2, 3, even 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you typically don't go back to your car between then and now's a good time to get over there and move your car to a more protected space. Not only that, if you park in a structure and perhaps you're facing the wall and it's uncovered with the wind and with the threat of this hail kind of flowing in, you're going to want to move it as well. Tornado threat, like I mentioned, is lower, and then the street flooding threat is lower too because this is going to be a fast moving line, so we don't expect too much accumulation. Okay, so which areas are under that heightened risk to see the large hail, the 2 to 4 inches? You'll notice I mentioned Harris County. The large majority of it is under this hatched area. So all of Southeast Texas actually is under this hatched area, which means we all have the threat of seeing this considerable damaging large hail hit your specific neighborhood. Now, some of these storms are going to roll in with the heavy rain, with the wind. They may not produce it, but the ones that do, that the time to act is now, because once that's happening, in the event that that does happen, you're not going to want to be outside at any point, certainly not trying to protect your property then. And what we're tracking on radar right now is giving us this kind of heightened awareness that these storms could push into Southeast Texas. Have a look at Uvalde right now. These storms that are tracking towards San Antonio, they are severe thunderstorms. They're warned. Right now, hail size with this particular thunderstorm warning, 1 inch. But the one just behind it, just to the south there, you see with the very bright flashes of lightning, that hail core, I'll have you look at it in a second. This one does have the large, considerable hail. These are the tracks over the last 2 hours. You see the bright orange there. That is radar indicated grapefruit sized hail that we're seeing. And you'll notice the motion of these storms due east, so headed closer to our vicinity here over the next couple of hours. So right now pushing into San Antonio, if this track continues, their east moving storms, we have the potential to see those severe weather threats filter into our western counties right around 1 o'clock. So I want to walk you through the timeline of it. So that's where the storms are initializing right now. As these hold together, the threat for those grapefruit, lime-sized, golf ball-sized hail cores move into our area right around 1 o'clock. So this is our far western cities and counties. So I'm pinpointing Colorado, Wharton, down to Matagorda, starting to push in by 1 o'clock. 2:30 time frame, the brunt of these storms right over the southern portion of Harris County. So the majority of the threats today, looking at our future track models, along the I-10 corridor pushing towards the coastline. So 2:30, we're seeing that really strong hail core potentially over, or these potentially hail producing storms over Fort Bend County, Matagorda, Brazoria, the southern portion of Harris County, and then pushing into Galveston too. Now they do move very fast. However, with this type of energy, the damage may only take a few minutes. A couple of these hail cores falling on an unprotected car, you're going to have consequences that could lead, that are not only damaging financially, but they could be dangerous for you as well, which is why we don't want you to be out and about and try to give you enough of a heads up so you can alter your plans early enough. 4 o'clock, we'll see those storms kind of developing over the same area. So this could be a 2 to 4 hour event. So 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. for the downtown area. And then they'll slowly push off towards our eastern counties. So we'll take you through the 6 o'clock hour and we're cleared out. However, between then and now, the storms have the capacity to garner a lot of strength. So this is the rain chance map for you. When do you need to be most aware? Again, 2 to 4. So you'll notice that at 3 o'clock, the models kind of spike to see that threat for severe weather really heightened during that time frame. And then after the 6 o'clock hour, the storm chances quiet down. Now the severe weather threat, I can't overstate that enough. This type of setup here is not very typical. To see this large of hail push into southeast Texas is not something we see very often. And so for that reason, it's something that we need to be a little bit more aware of. We've been seeing lots of flooding the last couple of weeks, and the flood threat is there today, even though we could only see 1 to 3 inches of rainfall in these areas that are already saturated. We'll have to watch for the potential of some flooding, although that is going to be kind of a back burner effect. The predominant danger for today for you and your family and your property is going to be that large hail. So again, I want to show you a live look at radar before I let you go to see what we're experiencing right now, what some of our neighbors closer to San Antonio are experiencing, to give you the heads up of what we could see here in a couple of hours, especially as we see these storms moving due east. The track, if these storms hold together, would foreshadow what's happening there right now. So lots of lightning, heavy downpour, strong wind, and the potential of some large hail. So we're not talking about the pea-sized hail that we sometimes see kind of sprinkled in to these heavy downpours. We're talking about considerable large hail cores. And how these develop is these storms are so strong that we get this big rush of air that filters into these storms, and so the hail stays suspended in the thunderstorm for a prolonged period of time. And so it gets coated repeatedly with lots of ice that eventually it is too strong to combat the upflow of air, and then drops down, and then we get these really kind of monstrous sized hail cores. So severe thunderstorm warning, there's a number of them. So you'll notice that first one that's pushing into San Antonio right now, showing radar indicated 1-inch size hail. The storm just south of there, showing us radar indicated 2-inch sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. And then right behind that, another severe thunderstorm warning with really similar parameters. This one that's just north of Uvalde has a severe thunderstorm warning for about 1.25 inches hail size detected on radar, and then 60-mile-an-hour winds. I'll take off the lightning just so you can see, and I'm actually going to take off the severe thunderstorm warnings just so you can see what we'll be watching. So we're going to have radar available. You could stream that and watch it yourself, which I encourage you to do so, especially if you had any plan to be outside. But like I mentioned, if you start seeing anything like that on radar, the deeper reds, the purples, that's when you want to abandon those plans to be outside. Keep in contact with your kids' school. Ask them, what the plan is. If we do start to see this pop up in Harris County, Fort Bend County, wherever you're picking up your kid from, this is not something that you want to be stuck in a line for. Absolutely not. Because if you see this type of hail signature and you're kind of immobilized, the brunt of the impact that you could feel is not only going to be very scary, but very dangerous. So again, let me look at the 2-hour hail tracks, what radar is picking up, and yeah, still seeing right now 10:20, just shy of 10:20 a.m., and we're still seeing the deeper reds, the orange, so anywhere between softball-sized to grapefruit-sized hail. Our main threat here, southeast Texas, Harris County, noon to 6 o'clock. I think specifically downtown, the window to see these severe storms, the potential of them to develop is going to be between 2 and 4 o'clock, I would say. But again, we're going to have team weather with our meteorologists all throughout the day. So during the noon hour, it'll be myself and meteorologist Pat Kavlin. Then we'll have team weather, us together again at 4, and then we'll have chief meteorologist with Pat Kavlin at 5 and 6. So it'll be David Paul guiding us through the severe storm threat for tonight. But I'll leave you with that time frame, noon to 6. That's when you need to be really careful as to what, if any, plans you had scheduled to make sure you're adaptable, make sure you're flexible, have a separate plan in motion because of the threat of large hail, 2 to 4 inches, 70 to 80 mile an hour winds also possible with some of these storms that could become severe. And then we can't rule out the possibility of even an isolated spin up. Be careful, keep up with the updates. Let us know if you have any questions.